I want you to tell me the very first thing that you see down below you, or the very first impression that you have as you come back down to the surface.
Trees, hills.
Are they far away or close to you?
All around. They go for miles.
I see. And I'd like you to look down at where your feet are and tell me what you're wearing on your feet.
Some type of slippers.
Okay. And become aware of your body and tell me what clothes you have on your body, if any.
Some type of leather, like suede.
What kind of clothing is it?
It's made from animals' skin, like it's kind of tattered.
It's not tailored into anything, it's just skin?
Yeah. It's like a long shirt.
Mm-hmm. What does it cover?
My body down to my knees.
Okay. Are you in a male or a female body?
Male.
Young or old?
It's middle-aged, like 40s.
Okay. And are you healthy or ill?
Healthy and strong.
And so as you're standing there in the middle of the hills and the trees that go on for miles, can you tell me what you're doing there?
I have an axe. I'm chopping down trees.
Are you by yourself?
Yes.
Are you working for someone or is it just for you?
For me.
And what are you going to do with the wood?
Build and make fires.
What are you going to build?
Fencing around my property. I have a horse.
A horse?
With me.
So you're felling the trees all by yourself?
Yes.
That's hard work. You must be really strong.
He is strong. He's has really large hands.
Mm-hmm. How many trees can you get in one day, or do you work on just one tree?
I fall a couple and bring back one.
Mm-hmm. And what do you do with it then when you bring it back? How do you prepare the wood?
Remove the bark and split it into logs.
Do you have any special tools?
Yeah, they're metal.
Okay. I would like you to see yourself standing in front of the place where you live. On the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what you see.
Like a log cabin. Smoke coming out of the chimney.
What's around the cabin on the outside?
There's piles of wood. There's animals.
What kind of animals?
Goats. Horses. Pigs.
Is there any kind of enclosure for them?
Fences.
Okay. Is that why you were getting the wood to build the fence?
Yes, and for the fireplace. I trade the wood.
And what do you trade it for?
For milk. For clothes.
I see. So let's get back to the cabin. How big is it?
It's small.
So let's go ahead and walk inside and tell me what you see inside.
Just a large room, a fireplace, a sleeping area. The floors are dirt.
And what does the sleeping area look like?
Looks like animal furs.
Okay, so right on the dirt floor.
Yes.
How many people live in this house?
Just me.
Do you have any other family or anybody that you're connected to?
People I trade with.
Okay. So on the count of 3, I'd like you to see yourself having a meal. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what is happening.
Sitting by the fireplace. There's a stew in a pot.
What is that stew made out of?
Goat. Carrots. Potatoes.
Where did you get the goat?
It's one of mine.
Can you tell me why you're living there by yourself?
It's remote. I think I like to be away from people.
And why do you want to be away from people?
I feel like I suffered a loss with my family.
So when I count to 3, I'd like you to move in time to that event that prompted you to go on your own. 1, 2, and 3.
I lived in a village that was raided. And they killed my wife and my son.
Who raided it?
Some type of army.
Just see them clearer in your mind and describe to me what they look like.
They look like Roman soldiers on chariots.
Do you know why they raided your village?
No.
And were you there at that time in the village?
I escaped. They were after slaves.
So they were catching people and turning them into slaves?
Right.
So why did they kill your wife and child then?
They just wanted men.
Oh, I see.
And they burned the village.
Did they get some men?
Yes, lots.
And what happened after that? What did you do?
I went to the woods.
Is the place that you came to where you live now?
Yes.
Are you not afraid that they can find you now?
It's very remote.
I see. So how do you get the wood to the people for trading?
With the horse.
And how long does it take for you to get to that trading place?
2 days.
When you come to trade with people, is that a town, a city?
It's a village.
Imagine yourself going into a village and see yourself trading with people. Can you describe to me what they look like?
They're very tan. They're dirty.
What are they wearing?
The same types of clothes as me.
It's just skins.
Yes. Almost like a sleeveless dress.
Is there a marketplace that you go to, or you just make arrangements with individual people?
There's a market in the center of the village.
Mm-hmm. How big is it?
It's not very big.
And how often do you come to that village to trade?
Twice a year.
Oh, so the rest of the time you're by yourself?
Yes.
And how is it for you to be by yourself for such an extended period of time?
It's lonely.
Would you prefer to live with people?
It's too dangerous.
Is there something particular about you that they're looking for? Or do they just raid villages that have a lot of men? In other words, how likely is it that they will come just after you?
They take a lot at a time, so they're not coming for just me.
Okay, so if you move closer to people, it would become dangerous just because there would be a lot of people?
Right.
I see. See yourself in the place where you live and just tell me what you fill your days with.
Working, taking care of the animals, cutting wood.
If you only go to the market twice a year, you must have a lot of wood to bring with you. How do you carry all of that? Just with one horse?
On a carriage.
And it all fits there?
Just as much as I can bring.
And does anybody ever come to where you live?
Occasionally. I have a friend. He brings me meat.
Who is this friend? Did you know him from your own village?
Yes.
Did he escape too?
Yes.
Where did he go?
To the woods like me.
But he's not staying with you?
No.
Why did you go to different places?
He has his family.
Oh, so he was able to escape altogether with them?
Yes.
Physically, do you all look the same, or are there differences? The armies come to get slaves. Any physical distinction in the people that they're hunting?
No. They're similar, just a different culture.
So the soldiers are not from your culture?
No.
Is there a difference in skin color between you and the soldiers?
No. We're both tan.
Okay. And can you tell me about the weather where you live? What's the climate like?
It's warm now.
Does it get cold sometimes?
Yes.
And when it gets cold, do you get snow?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you wear when it snows? How do you keep yourself warm?
Fur. It's like a coat.
Okay. And what do you wear on your feet when it's cold?
It's like a leather shoe or boot tied up to my shins.
Mm-hmm. On the count of 3, I'd like you to move to the next significant moment in that life. 1, 2, and 3. See yourself there and tell me what's happening.
I'm getting too old to do this. I'm weak.
And what do you decide?
I need to go to the village and live.
And how old are you at this point?
80.
Wow, that is quite an advanced age. And what do you do then?
Bring the animals I have left. Leave everything else.
And when you get to the village, what do you do?
I trade the animals for a place to stay.
Tell me about where you stay.
It's just a room.
Is it a cabin by itself, or it's a room in somebody's house?
It's a room in the house.
Do they take care of you?
Yes.
What do they do for you?
Just give me food.
Okay. And how is it going?
It's going good, but I'm dying.
And how do you know you're dying?
Because I'm sick.
What's wrong with you?
Coughing. And I'm weak.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything that can help you feel better? Is there a doctor or healer that they can call?
They have. I'm gonna die.
Does the healer do anything for you?
Try to just provide comfort.
And how does he do that?
Just food and furs.
So allow yourself to move to that time close to your end. Do you have other people around you?
The lady whose house it is.
And what are you thinking about?
Thanking her.
And so allow yourself with the next breath to gently lift your spirit out of your body. And leaving the body behind, allow the spirit to rise above, look down. And tell me from a spirit perspective why you chose to experience that life as you did. What was the purpose or the lesson or the experience that you wanted to have?
Heartbreak. But able to continue.
So you wanted to feel what it was like to have heartbreak and have the strength to go on?
Right.
In that sense, it seems like you had a successful life.
Yes.
Did you learn something from it that you will take away with you?
Yes. Compassion.
Compassion for whom?
People hurting.
Understanding of what it feels like to have a heartbreak.
Right.
Is there something in that life that you felt you could have done differently or better?
Yes. I could have integrated back into society.
So you don't think that it was dangerous to do so?
I think it would have been worth it.
What held him back from doing so?
Fear.
And so what do you understand about fear now that he didn't understand?
You can't live in fear. You have to take chances.
Would he have been safe if he had gone back to the village, any village, and lived with other people?
Yes.
Okay. So allow those images to begin to fade away, and for all those characters, as you begin to drift back once again to their timelines and to time and space, relax, flow through time and space. Moving toward another time and place that will help you gain the insight and understand, drifting and floating to another time and place that is appropriate to look at. And as you reach that once again begin to drift gently down, lower and further and further down, deeper and deeper. And as you reach the surface, I'd like you to look around and tell me the first thing that you see below you as you come back down to the surface.
I'm in chains.
And where are the chains on you?
On my wrist.
Okay, what do you see around you?
I'm in a concrete room. I think it's a basement.
Is there anybody with you?
No.
And I'd like you to look down at your body and tell me what you're wearing on your body.
A woman. It's underwear and a t-shirt.
And are you young or old?
Young. 23.
Are you healthy or ill?
I'm starving.
How long have you been there in the basement?
for 5 years.
And why are you there?
I've been kidnapped.
Who kidnapped you?
A male.
Tell me about him.
He rapes me. He brings people to rape me.
Are you in the basement of his home?
Yes.
Does he take care of you in any way?
He keeps me alive.
What does he feed you?
Mostly bread and water.
What is your name?
Rachel.
Rachel, do you know what city you're in?
No.
Do you know what country you're in?
No.
And 5 years ago, where did you live?
At a school. I was an orphan.
I see. Was it an orphanage?
I think so.
And what was the name of that orphanage?
I don't know.
Okay. So on the count of 3, you're going to take a deep breath and feel a wave of comfort flowing through you. 1, 2, and 3. Releasing. Letting go. Becoming aware of the information, but yet not being affected by it. And I want you to travel in time to 5 years prior to this moment and see yourself in the orphanage or in the place where you were living. And describe it to me.
There's metal beds in a row. It's all girls. They're not treated good.
And what do you do during the day?
We had a school.
Who teaches you?
The nun.
And what do the nun teach you?
Math. How to sew.
And do you have to do any chores?
Yes. We clean. We cook.
Do you ever go outside of the orphanage?
Yes.
What do you do outside?
We play.
Is it on the territory of the orphanage?
Yes.
Do you ever go outside of that territory into the city or town where you are?
No.
So I'd like you to see yourself in the office of somebody who's in charge. And I wonder if you can see anything on the wall or on the table, maybe a newspaper, that will help you remember what year it is and where you are. What do you notice?
I don't know how to read.
Oh, I see. Do you know numbers?
Very little.
It's all right. Do any other girls know how to read?
Yes.
Can you ask them? Can you point the sign or whatever you see to them and ask them to read it to you?
They don't talk to me.
Why is that?
They don't like me. They make fun of me.
And why is that?
Because I'm not smart.
Oh, well, that's mean of them. Why do you think you're not smart?
I can't understand. I can't learn to read.
Well, I want you to tell the girls that I'm telling them to help you. They have to help you read the sign. What do they tell you?
I don't.
They don't help you?
No.
Okay. How long have you been in this orphanage?
My whole life.
Do you have any idea who your parents were?
No.
Okay. And how long do you stay there? How long girls usually stay there? Until what age?
17 or 18.
And what do they do after that?
They get married and leave.
Where do they find husbands?
They come to the orphanage.
So men come to the orphanage to look for a wife?
Yes.
What kind of men usually come there? Can you describe some of them?
They have dark skin.
Does that look different from your skin?
No.
So who are some of the men that came? Can you talk about them?
No, I barely see them.
And do the girls have a say in who they want to marry?
I don't know.
Go to the age that you would start looking for a husband or you would start getting ready to leave. When that age comes, what happens to you?
I'm in a basement.
So you have been kidnapped already?
Yes.
So I'd like you to move in time to the moment when that happens. On the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3. Taking a deep breath, feeling comfortable and relaxed, and just telling me what happens at that point.
I ran away from the orphanage.
And how old were you?
17.
Why did you run away?
Because I was treated so bad.
By whom?
Everyone.
Wasn't this already about time for you to leave the orphanage?
I couldn't meet any men. They wouldn't let me.
I see. And when you ran away, where did you go?
Into the woods.
And do you have a plan for how to survive?
I want to find a husband.
And how do you go about finding a husband?
I go to the city.
What city is that?
I don't know. It's big.
So tell me what you see in the city.
Buildings. Houses.
What do buildings look like?
The brick.
How many stories are they? Can you count?
30 is the biggest.
Can you describe the people that you see on the street?
They have dark skin.
How are they dressed?
Clothes.
Describe their clothes to me.
Robes. White cloth.
All of them wear white robes.
Yes.
Can you approach someone and ask them what city you're in?
I don't talk.
You can't talk?
No.
I see. And so what do you do next?
Walk in the streets.
And how do you think you're going to find a husband?
I don't know.
So move to the next important moment. 1, 2, and 3. What's happening?
I'm being taken in the basement.
Who's taking you?
A man.
So how did he approach you?
I was begging for food. He offered me food.
And then what happened?
He said he had more at home.
And so you followed him.
Yes.
I see. And so when you get to his house, what happens?
He fed me more.
What does his house look like?
It's brick.
And what's inside of it?
Floors. And a table.
And what does he look like?
He's dark.
Is he wearing the same type of robe?
Yes.
And what kind of food does he give you?
An apple and some bread.
And what happens then?
He says I can sleep in the basement.
And are you concerned at all at that point?
No.
So you go to the basement to rest?
Yes.
And then what happens?
He ties me up.
What do you do?
I try to scream.
What happens the next day?
He just gives me water.
And is there any way that you can communicate with him?
No. I try with my hands.
So let's go back to 5 years later. What is going through your mind at this point?
I want to die.
Let's move to the next significant moment. 1, 2, and 3. What happens?
I'm dead.
And how did that happen?
I killed myself.
How did you do that?
I hung myself.
How were you able to do that if you were chained?
I strangled with the bed sheets.
You strangled yourself with bed sheets?
Yes.
How did you manage it?
I lost the will to live.
But how were you able to pull so hard that you strangled yourself?
I used my body weight.
So were you able to get up and move around in the chains?
A little bit.
I see. And so just allowing your spirit to gently lift out of your body and float above, beginning to feel a sense of peace and calm and healing, letting go of the pain and suffering that you just left behind. From a spirit perspective, I want you to look back at that life and tell me why you chose that particular experience. Why did you design that life that way?
I think I was on the other end of that, doing that to someone.
And so you wanted to experience what it felt like?
Right.
Before we revisit that, tell me what you're feeling about the life you just completed. Do you feel that that was a successfully completed experience?
Yes, it was terrible.
Okay. That may create trauma that will come to the surface in later lives. Is that something that is affecting you in your current life?
Yes.
How is it expressed in your current life?
With bad thoughts of myself.
So low self-worth.
Right.
So for a moment, I'd like you to move back to the time that was the cause, the time where you were the perpetrator, if there was such a time. Drift back into that experience and become aware of who you were. And tell me what you're seeing.
I was a prison guard.
And you're a prison guard where?
A prison.
And who are you guarding?
Female prisoners.
And are you young or old?
30s.
Are you male or female?
Male.
Where do you live? Where is this prison?
Australia.
Okay. And what's the year right now?
It's 1912.
Okay. So tell me about your job.
I just am supposed to watch the prisoners.
What type of crimes have they committed?
All kinds. Murder. Stealing.
Do you like your job?
Yes.
What do you like about it?
Power.
Do you misuse your power?
Yes.
What do you do?
I force them to have sex with me.
I see. How often do you do that? let's move to the next significant moment in that life. 1, 2, and 3. Tell me what's happening.
Getting fired.
Why are you being fired?
For mistreating them. I'm in trouble.
Okay. And does anything else happen to you other than just being fired?
Yes, I'm arrested.
And then what happens when you're arrested?
I go to trial. Now I'm in prison.
And how long do you stay in prison?
The rest of my life.
Is that a long time?
No.
Do you die young?
Yes.
How'd you die?
The prisoners.
They kill you?
Yes.
Why did they kill you?
Because I was a guard.
And how do you die?
Stabbed.
Which part of your body are you stabbed in?
My chest and neck.
I see. How long were you a prisoner there?
3 years.
Let's go back for a moment to your arrest. What happened to prompt the arrest? I assume that you were raping women there for a while. Is that true?
Yes.
How many years did you work there as a guard?
7.
So for 7 years you were raping them.
No. For 5.
So what happened to bring it to an arrest?
I got caught.
Who caught you?
The warden.
Did women complain?
No.
They were all quiet about it.
Yes.
So allow your spirit to lift out of your body as you're stabbed. With a deep breath, allowing all that pain to be released. Now I want you to look at this life from a spirit perspective and tell me, what did you want to experience in that life?
Power.
Do you feel that you experienced it in the way that you meant to, or was it the negative use of power?
Negative use of power.
Is that how you intended it?
No.
How did you want to experience it?
Maybe it was how I intended.
Okay. So these 2 lives as a prison guard and then as Rachel. This is both sides of that power equation.
Yes.
Were they always meant to go together?
Yes.
Okay. Your life as Rachel, was that the last life before your current incarnation, or was there something following that?
That was my last life.
Okay. There was a lot of trauma to your neck in both lives, and your chest. So I wonder if you can imagine your chest and your neck being flooded with white light as it heals the wounds, the trauma that was inflicted on you. Taking the experiences with you, but releasing the pain. Taking with you what you have learned about power and lack of it, about positive and negative uses of power, yet letting go of the pain, letting go of the trauma. And I would like you to allow all of those characters to go in their own way. And I want all of the consciousness and personality of Eric to once again return to the body and fully integrate into his current body. I would like to speak with Eric's higher consciousness. May I ask you questions?
Yes.
You brought forward 3 lives. One as a man that lived alone, almost an escaped slave. Then a prison guard in 1912 that abused his power, raped. And then a woman, a kidnapped victim that spent 5 years in chains. So I'd like you to tell us why you picked those 3 lives.
help understand the pain he feels today.
How do those 3 lives affect him today?
The experience of pain has helped you understand and have empathy for people who experience it also.
Mm-hmm. What about his relationship with power, or lessons around power?
Learned how to not misuse power.
But it seems to have also affected his self-worth, especially since it was the last life before he returned. So that seems to come to the surface quite a bit for him. Can you remind him of his true nature? Because he seems to be still looking at the world through Rachel's eyes.
Worth isn't dependent on what other people think of you, or how they view you.
I'd like you to do something for him. I'd like you to take him on a journey to meet his soul family. And I'd like him to be able to see you, his higher self, a little bit more tangibly, to the extent that he can. He needs to connect with who he is, who his family is. So can you take him there so he can share with me what he's seeing and experiencing?
Beautiful spirit, connected as one, full of love, light.
Is that his higher self?
Yes.
And how does it feel for Eric to connect with that part of him?
It feels right in the truest sense.
So does that help to remove the perceptions, the frames that he put around himself?
Yes. Those are just experiences. They're not good or bad or right or wrong.
One of the questions that Eric has is about his life purpose. So looking at it from the perspective of the 3 lives you brought forward, is its purpose connected in some way to what he experienced in those 3 lives?
Yes.
Can you explain how it is connected?
The understanding of pain and loss without judgment, just being a beacon of light.
Mm-hmm. Thinking about the 3 lives that you brought forward, there is a pattern of bondage in all 3 of them. There is slavery or near slavery in the first one, prison in the other ones, either imposing it or experiencing it. Can you talk as to why that's the pattern he's seeing right now?
Because I continue the bondage, but it's in my mind.
So he needs to free himself from his own sort of prison.
Right.
Remind him of something that may surprise him, but will ring true to him on a spiritual level, that can help him begin to break down that bondage.
You are God.
Is that something that's resonating with him as we're remembering it?
Yes.
Beautiful. So one of the things that Eric wanted to know was if he had been a parent in his previous lives. In his first life, I think he was a father, but he lost his child. I'm not sure, as a prison guard, was he a parent then?
Yes.
But then his child lost his father because his father went to jail. And then as the woman, he didn't have any connection with his parents. So once again, there is this theme of losing parents or not being connected with parents or losing children. Is that an important theme for this life to deal with?
Yes.
Can you explain to him how?
It's only mental. The loss was never a loss. It was just a mental loss.
So in fact, when his physical lives were over, he reconnected with his children.
Right.
And is there any significance to the fact that it was between the children and the parent? The loss was within that dynamic.
Yes.
What was significant about that?
In this life, my mom left. And it felt like a loss. But it was just mental.
Make sure that your conscious mind steps to the side and relaxes right now on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Just letting go. Tapping into your higher consciousness for its wisdom and guidance. What Eric wants to know is why he feels so restless in this life. Why there is a constant feeling that he needs to do something to feel like he's fulfilling some sort of purpose. So can you help him understand it?
I've tied my worth to my accomplishments. And again, it's just mental.
And why was that done?
It's another bondage I place on myself.
I see. As I touch the center of your chest, you're going to feel the bonds beginning to break, the shackles beginning to break all around your body, falling down, releasing. Just allow that sense of freedom and release to flow all through your body from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Sweeping those chains away, breaking the bondage that has been in place for hundreds of years, in different forms, at different levels. Now finally finding that time, that space, to come back to your true freedom, stepping out of that inner prison that you have built around yourself, removing those inner shackles that you put on yourself. And I want you to imagine, visualize, or pretend that there is a beautiful white golden light that is shining all around you. And you direct a beam of light to the place where your shackles have been, where they left an imprint on your body. Because when you wear shackles for a long time, they leave scars on your skin. And so there may be bruises and wounds that you cannot even see. And so this beautiful golden white light, the beam of light, shines through your entire body and heals those wounds that are visible and that are hidden, removing the scars, releasing painful memories, clearing, releasing and relaxing. Now I'm going back to the higher self, tapping into that universal mind. Eric often feels depressed. Can you help him understand that?
It's more mental bondage. Tied to self-worth. It's not real.
So by releasing it here today, he will begin to let go of those things that were holding him back before. Eric also experiences social anxiety. Is that part of the same story, or is there something additional he needs to understand about it?
Same story.
Okay. And he also wants to know why he's sensitive or empathic to people.
The connectedness, the oneness.
So by itself, it's a very normal and natural thing. But he doesn't have, perhaps, the tools to feel safe. Is there a way for him to protect himself? Okay. So he can just relax into it. Okay. Another thing that's negatively affecting him is that he takes everything very personally. Can you help him understand that?
It's part of the connectedness again, but it's not tied to self-worth, only mentally.
So what is it tied to?
Compassion and empathy.
So when he takes things personally, though, does he not take issues that others are experiencing and makes them his own?
Yes, I do.
And is that healthy for him?
No.
What is the best way for him to establish boundaries so that when he's dealing with others, he's not taking on their issues and making it about himself?
Just by shining light and compassion on them.
Can he remember the vision of himself, the vision of his higher self, when he does that?
Yes.
So that he's grounded in his own worth, his own view of who he truly is.
Yes.
Okay, so help him ground that into his mind and give him a vision of himself that he can carry with him. He used to get really angry while driving. That has changed after we worked together. But he wants to understand clearer, because he's not an angry person in general, why he would experience such road rage.
It's my inner child acting out, repeating what I saw and what I learned.
Okay. And is that cleared now?
Yes.
So I just wanted to clarify this life's purpose for him. Is there anything in particular he has to do? Or is it more about the way he's being?
I need to continue growing in spirituality.
So are the things that he's doing or accomplishing every day that important? Is that what defines him?
No.
Can you tell him what defines him?
The love and the light that I shine.
Okay. Eric wants to know if he will ever get to travel and see the world. Is that in the cards for him?
Yes.
And what are potential places for him to visit?
The West Coast.
Okay. Alright, so before we close, I'd like you to do a body scan. I'd like you to start at the top of his head and scan his physical body all the way to the bottom of his feet. And if there's anything that's off balance that needs adjustment, bring it to my attention, please. Tell me what you're doing.
Shining light all through the body, letting the energy flow, releasing the blockages.
Are there any particular places where the blockages are?
My right arm.
So is that being cleared?
Yes.
Anywhere else?
No.
So tell me when the scan is completed.
It's complete.
Thank you. Are there any issues that you need to bring up?
No.
Okay, good. Thank you. So before we close, I'd like to give you another chance to send a message to Eric directly. Is there anything you want to say to him?
Let the Spirit be your guide.
Okay. And sometimes when Spirit guides, I just want to point it out for Eric, it may move you out of things that maybe you thought were right for you, but that are actually not beneficial to you. So when Spirit guides, it can move you towards things or sometimes away from things so that better things can come up. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
So if he trusts Spirit and allows it to guide him, then he will just go with trust, knowing that whether he is moved towards things or away from things, it is the right move. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm asking the higher consciousness to begin to recede to where it belongs, with much love and thanks for the help and information that it has given Eric today.